Why do heroes leave home? Seriously, why would anybody leave a warm bed, a hot meal, their family, their friends, the safety of a quiet village in order to go into a haunted forest where they might never come back? Most fantasy games answer that with treasure. Gold or magic items or maybe even experience points. But I don't think that's why the best heroes leave home. I think the best adventures are acts of love. Now don't click away, stay with me for a moment and see if you might think so as well. When I first started running games, I wrote adventure hooks like many of you have. There's treasure in that dungeon. The mayor is offering 500 gold pieces. Bandits are attacking caravans. Those hooks work. Obviously, we wouldn't be there without them. Players accept them and they'll go. They're here to explore and find treasure after all. But I think in some games, something is missing because they're completely transactional. Once the reward disappears, so does the motivation. Now think back to your favorite campaign. I think the last thing that you remember is the few hundred gold pieces that you found in a treasure chest. You might remember rescuing somebody, maybe the tavern keeper that you fell in love with, the NPC that sacrificed themselves for the town, or maybe even the goblin that the party adopted. We remember people, not payouts. I think this is the reason why many modern fantasy games fall back on things like the Dark Lord returning, or the Demon Queen that's going to destroy the world. And even reality itself is collapsing. The sky is falling and the world is ending. Now please don't get me wrong, those are fantastic. I've run many of those. In fact, I wouldn't even need any notes in order to run a game like that. The Lord of the Rings is one of the greatest stories ever told, and there's that trope right there. But a lot of people have misunderstood this, is that the player characters are not fighting to save the world, they're fighting to save their world. Think about Frodo's world. People say he set out to save Middle-earth, and by and large, that's true. But I don't think that's what got him out the front door. Frodo has never seen most of Middle-earth. Sure, he's heard stories, but he's never been to Gondor. He's never been to Rohan. He knows of the Lonely Mountain, but he's never been there. He knows the Shire, his friends, his garden, his favorite walking paths, the green dragon, the smell of fresh pipeweed, a peaceful evening by the fire. That is his world. If the ring isn't dealt with, then he's going to lose everything that matters to him. That is why he cares. The same is true in our own lives. We aren't trying to save the world necessarily. We're trying to protect our family, our friends, our traditions, the things that are bringing us back home every day. So imagine two different adventure hooks. A lich has appeared in the mountains, and the king is offering 500 gold pieces for information. Now imagine this instead. Your grandfather went into the briarwood thicket yesterday morning, looking for his old sheepdog, and he never came home. Not just any grandfather, it's your character's grandfather that taught you how to carve wood, how to fish. Every harvest festival, he tells the same exact story. Everybody knows the ending, but everybody wants to hear the story. Yesterday morning, he grabbed his walking stick and went out to find his dog. He disappeared into the briarwood thicket, and nobody has seen him since. Very unlike him. Guess what? You're going out to find him, not because there's treasure and not because there's experience points. You're going because it's grandpa. Or maybe the harvest has failed. And if someone doesn't figure out what's going on, everybody's gonna starve this winter. A witch needs a special herb before midnight, or your sister is going to die of the fever. Or someone has stolen the harvest lantern and the dead won't stay dead. Or maybe someone kidnapped, or worse, killed your dog. John Wick, anybody? Well, I guess now you're going into the clearly cursed and haunted woods. These aren't treasure hunts, they're acts of love. Here's the great part. Once the players have something that their characters genuinely love, you don't need bigger monsters. They're already afraid because now they have something to lose. This is exactly why I created Hearth and Horror for the Samhain campaign. This is my homebrew campaign setting that's a little slice of Halloween, and if you haven't signed up for the newsletter, go ahead and do that. There's a link down in the dungeon. People watched my last video where I explained Hearth and Horror, and they likened it to a sanity system, even a stress mechanic or corruption mechanic. And I completely understand why, but Hearth and Horror is solving a completely different issue. Horror is not the goal. Home is. Let me say that again. Horror is not the goal. Home is. The horror only matters because there's something to come back home to. Without the hearth, the horror is just another mechanic. If there isn't a warm fire waiting for you, then the cold does not matter. If there isn't a family waiting for you, then the darkness doesn't matter. You cannot understand horror until you understand Hearth. Every step into the darkness costs something, and every step back home means something. I've started asking my players a different question. I don't ask them, what's your backstory? Instead, I ask, who or what are you trying to come back home to? Your wife, your husband, your grandfather, your daughter, your little farm, the harvest festival, the old tavern, the pumpkin mead at Tavern Sweeney, a promise you made years ago. Now the adventures right themselves because the kingdom's not in danger. I'm threatening the things that they love. I don't think that every campaign needs world-ending stakes. Sometimes losing one person, a family member, or a pet. A home that your great-grandfather built with his bare hands. Your home village. And I think that those are the stories that we remember, not because the stakes were bigger, but because it hit closer to the heart. So maybe we're asking the wrong question. It's not about how do I get the players into the dungeon, but what could possibly make someone leave home, a very comfortable home. Maybe it's a chest of gold, sure. I mean, the farm may be taxed to death, but your grandfather, your wife, your son, your daughter, yeah, I'd walk into a haunted forest for them. Because nobody leaves home because they're bored. They leave because someone they love needs them. And I think the greatest adventure is not about what the heroes find, but about what they refuse to lose. I'd like to thank my Patreon supporters for making this video possible. Without you, none of this happens. Also, if you're interested in the Samhain Veil, you can get the Welcome to the Samhain Veil Mugwort Zine. It's on my Patreon. There's a link down in the dungeon. All right, everyone. Thanks for stopping by Agronax Studios today, and we'll see you on the next one. Later.